Hello everyone, this is the Sports Spiral, and today it's my second video for the picks and preview of all the bowl games. This is the second set, so I picked the first five in the first set, and now I'm going to pick the rest of them, including the semifinal games. I'll talk about those at the end of the video, but let's just get into all these regular bowl games. We start on the 30th, where Wake Forest is going against Wisconsin. Wisconsin started looking really good at the start of the season, but since then they've been a disappointment. Graham Mertz has looked like a freshman for sure, but the defense has been pretty good, and going against a pretty average, not the best team in Wake Forest. I think this one will be low scoring. I think Graham Mertz can score enough points to win this one with the Wisconsin offense, but it's close, 23-16. I think the Wisconsin defense really helps the Badgers win the game, though. So then we have the night game for the 30th. I believe there's supposed to be a third game on the 30th, but it's canceled due to COVID. That was the Missouri-Iowa game. And so we have the night game, which is Oklahoma going against Florida. So originally I was going to pick Florida, but Florida had many of their star receivers out, actually all of their star receivers out, and most of their starting receivers out. So they're heavily hit by the opt-outs, which have become a big theme in bowl games, and I don't really like them. We can't see these teams at their best, and that's what I want bowl games for. I want them to compare conferences, to compare teams in general, and they're really just for fun at the end of the season. You played a great season, you get to enjoy this bowl game. Now, that's what they should be for, but they're really turning into a preview of next year where you're not going to have all these star players like Florida is going to have. So it's really going to be kind of a one-man show from Kyle Trask. He's really the only star left on this team, with Tony, Pitts, Grimes, and some other receivers out. So I've got Oklahoma here. I don't think Florida can score enough. If they had a better defense this year, maybe I'd pick them, or a better running attack. But I've got Oklahoma. Spencer Rattler has looking great, and Oklahoma, they started with 2 losses, but since they've been really good, and I've got them by 6 over the Gators. Then we move to the New Year's Eve games, and Tulsa, they were able to hang with Cincinnati. That game was closer than I expected, so I'm going to pick Tulsa over Mississippi State. Mississippi State, the air raid had started to work a little better, but sometimes defense is just all good against it, and it doesn't work every game. But I think they can keep this one close with Will Rogers at quarterback, but not close enough. I've got Tulsa 31-27. Okay, then we have Ball State versus San Jose State, 2 of the Group of 5 conference champions, and San Jose State is undefeated, but Ball State has 1 loss, so I'm going to pick San Jose State in this one. I think they are in a slightly better conference as well. They have the transfer from Arkansas, Nick Starkel. He's been playing great for them at quarterback all year. So I've got them in a close one over Ball State, 31-24. Then we have West Virginia versus Army. Originally, this was supposed to be West Virginia versus Tennessee, but there's been lots of shaking up in this bowl schedule, lots of cancellations, so not as many bowl games, but still a lot of good bowl games this year. I've got West Virginia 24-20 because they're not as one-dimensional as Army. Army really likes to run the football, and they've got a great rushing game, but not too much of a passing game. And West Virginia does have that passing game. So I've got West Virginia 24-20, like I previously mentioned. Then we have the New Year's Day games. I believe this is when the semifinals are, but like I said, I'm going to pick those at the end of the video. We have Cincinnati going against Georgia, and I thought Cincinnati last week, a few weeks ago at this point, I thought they were going to be able to handle Tulsa a little better, but they barely got out alive over Tulsa, and that's why I'm picking Georgia here. But I would have Georgia by a lot or by over 10 points, but they do have some of their players out, and I think that's why Cincinnati can keep it close. I think Riddle will have a pretty good game, but this Georgia defense is just too good for the Cincinnati offense ultimately. And Georgia also can score enough points with a rushing attack, and JT Daniels has been looking great. So I've got Georgia 27-21 over Cincinnati. Then we have Auburn versus Northwestern, and Auburn, they fired their coach Gus Malzahn a few weeks ago, but they just hired Coach Halston from the Boise State Broncos, and I haven't heard too much about his name, but he did do a pretty good job over at Boise State, getting them lots of wins and few losses each season. So yeah, I think that can help Auburn next year. But this year they've been struggling offensively. Yes, they've had some positives with the running game. Their passing defense has been pretty good, but their rushing defense has not been very good. And for Northwestern, they have a great defense. Their offense isn't the best though, so I don't think Northwestern can score enough points with Peyton Ramsey to win this one. I think Bo Nix will have a better game for Auburn, maybe some momentum going into next season. I think Tank Bigsby will have a pretty good game. So I've got Auburn in a close, low-scoring game over Northwestern, 20-17. Then we have the games on the second. This is the Gator Bowl, where we have Kentucky versus NC State. And originally I was going to pick Kentucky for this one, but then I realized that they really don't have the best offense. I think they have a great defense, but I don't think their offense is good enough to win this one. I think Bailey Hockman had a good game too for NC State, and NC State wins a close one over Kentucky, 27-24. Then we have the Outback Bowl, Ole Miss versus Indiana. I love this matchup. And Indiana, they're without Michael Penix, and I would have picked them if they did have him, but he was injured a few weeks or a month ago, whenever that was. So yeah, Ole Miss has been looking great offensively. Their defense has not been the best, but luckily this Indiana offense is probably not going to be as good as they could have been. But Tuttle did play well for them when he did play, and I think Indiana, they ultimately are going to lose the game. They have a pretty good defense and a pretty good offense too, but Ole Miss, their high-powered offense, wins this one 30-27. Then we have Iowa State versus Oregon, and Iowa State, they fell to Oklahoma in that conference championship, but they kept it close. And Oregon, they won their conference championship. But I just don't think, I think the Big 12 is a lot better than the Pac-12 this year. And yeah, I just like Brock Purdy, I don't know if Bruce Howard's playing. Yeah, I think Bruce Howard's playing. And then we have, so yeah, I've got Iowa State in this one, 30-24. I just think Iowa State, they're just the better team, better defense, better offense, more explosive potentially. But I think Chuck Hatch played pretty well for Oregon. But yeah, I've got Iowa State 30-24, a close one though. So then we have the final regular bowl game. This is Texas A&M versus North Carolina. I love this matchup. North Carolina has an explosive offense, and yeah, their defense has not been the best this season, but they have improved a lot over the course of the season. Texas A&M, their defense has also improved a lot, and so yeah, Texas A&M. I think North Carolina is the better team offensively. One of their running backs did opt out, I think Williams, but they have Cardle, so they have two great running backs, so they'll be able to use one of their running backs, which is good. And Texas A&M, so yeah, they still have a great offense with Spiller and Calamond. It's been playing pretty good, but I think Texas A&M's defense wins this one, a close game, and this should be a pretty good game. So I've got Texas A&M 38-31. Then we have Alabama versus Notre Dame, the fourth semifinal game, and Alabama, they showed that they're not invincible versus Florida. They only won by 6, I believe. But Notre Dame, they got blown out in the conference championship by Clemson. I think they will get blown out again. They haven't had a very good history in the college football playoff. So yeah, I've got Alabama handling Notre Dame. Their offense is just too much for them. And even though Notre Dame's defense is pretty good, I think they'll hold Alabama to 45, which is actually a pretty good job defensively. And I think Ian Book and this Notre Dame offense can score some points on Alabama, but not enough to keep this team interesting. 45-27 Alabama, but I think Notre Dame could keep this one close, but very low chance they will win this. Then we have what should be a pretty good matchup. We had this one last year too, and it's great. Ohio State versus Clemson. Clemson's been looking fantastic with Trevor Lawrence, who is going to be the first pick in the draft, and most likely. And then Travis Etienne has been playing great as well. Ohio State, Justin Fields has turned the ball over too much, and its passing has not been the best this season. He's made some mistakes versus the best teams in the Big 12, but they've got a really good running game. Justin Fields is great at running the football, and Trey Sermon had a breakout game versus Northwestern in that conference championship. So I think Trey Sermon can really keep Ohio State in this game, but ultimately Justin Fields is going to make too many mistakes, and Clemson's offense is going to score too many points. So I've got Clemson 34-24. So that is going to do it for this video. I'm going to do the championship game, whoever those two teams are, and I'm going to analyze that for a while, tell you all the headlines about that game, kind of like a pregame type show. So yeah, please make sure to subscribe, like, and check out my other videos on the channel. And this is the Sports Spiral. Bye.